Tissues, the living fabric.
Hello, my name is Grace Hogan, and I'm going to be explaining to you tissues and how they work in the human body. Let's start off by defining what a tissue is. Tissues are a group of cells that are similar in structure and perform a common or related function. A tissue in the human body makes up an organ or other body parts. There are four main types of tissues in the human body. You have epithelial tissue, connective tissue, muscular tissue, and nervous tissue. These four tissues make up the fabric of the human body.
Epithelial tissue are sheets of cells that cover a body surface or line a body cavity. They form boundaries between different environments, as well as protect, secrete, and absorb things in the skin. They line digestive tract organs and other hollow organs, as well as the skin's surface. Epithelial tissue is the most abundant type of tissue and covers almost entirely the whole body. There are also many special characteristics of epithelial tissue. Epithelial tissues have cellularity. They also have an apical side and a basilar side. They have polarity, meaning that the cells at the apical surface are different from those at the basilar surface. They also have a basement membrane, which is a double layer of laminae that forms an epithelial sheet and helps in resisting stretching and tearing tissue. Epithelial tissues are also avascular, meaning they have no blood vessels. They are also highly regenerative.
There's so much epithelial tissue in the body, we classify it based on layer and shape. Here are the different types of epithelial tissue and what they look like under a microscope.
First, we are going to look at simple squamous epithelium. Simple squamous epithelium are a single layer of flattened cells with disc-shaped central nuclei. Their function is to allow materials to pass by diffusion and filtration in sites where protection is not important. These types of tissues are located in the air sacs of the lungs and the lining of the heart. Next, we are going to look at simple cuboidal epithelium. Simple cuboidal epithelium is a single layer of cube-like cells with large spherical central nuclei. Their function is secretion and absorption. Simple cuboidal epithelium are located in the kidney tubules and the ovary surface. Next, we are going to look at simple columnar epithelium. Simple columnar epithelium is a single layer of tall cells with round to oval nuclei. Their function is absorption, secretion of mucus and enzymes, and other substances. They are located in the digestive tract and the gallbladder. Next, we are going to look at pseudostratified columnar epithelium. Pseudostratified columnar epithelium are single layers of cells of differing heights, and their nuclei are scattered and not lined up. Their function is to secrete substances, particularly mucus. They are located in varying lines of the trachea. We also have stratified squamous epithelium. Stratified squamous epithelium is a thick membrane composed of several cell layers. The basal cells are cuboidal or columnar, and the surface cells are the flattened cells, which would be squamous. The function of stratified squamous epithelium is to protect underlying tissues and areas subjected to abrasion. They are located in the moist linings of the esophagus and the mouth. Last, we have transitional epithelium. Transitional epithelium resembles both stratified squamous and stratified cuboidal. Its function is to store urine to the distended urinary organ. They are located in the linings of the uterus, bladder, and part of the urethra.
The second category we are going to be talking about is connective tissue. There are four main categories of connective tissue. Connective tissue proper, which contains fat and fibrous tissues of ligaments, cartilage, bone, and blood.
Connective tissues all have common characteristics. The first common characteristic is the common origin. All connective tissues come from an embryonic tissue. The second are their degrees of vascularity. Depending whether it's cartilage, dense connective tissue, or dense irregular connective tissue, each tissue has a different degree of vascularity. The third is their extracellular matrix. Connective tissues are largely non-living extracellular matrix, which separates them from any other living cells of the tissue. Additionally, connective tissues also have many structural elements. The first one is ground substance. Ground substance is a material that is in between the spaces of cells and it contains fibers. There are also many types of fibers in connective tissues. These include collagen fibers, elastic fibers, and reticular fibers. I will point these out and show them to you later when I show you the different types of connective tissues. There are also many types of connective tissue cells. These cells include fat cells, white blood cells, and macrophages. I will also point these out to you when we look at slides later.
Like epithelial tissue, there are many types of connective tissues as well. Here are some examples of connective tissue under a microscope lens.
The first type of tissue we are going to be talking about is areolar tissue. Areolar tissue has a gel-like matrix that has elastic fibers, ground substance, fibroblast nuclei, and collagen fibers. You can see all of those in the picture above. The function of areolar tissue is to wrap and cushion organs, and it is widely distributed under the epithelia of the body. Next, we have adipose tissue. Adipose tissue has a matrix like areolar tissue, but there are very sparse and closely packed together fat cells. These fat cells are pictured above as the big circles. The function of adipose tissue is to provide reserve food fuel and to insulate against heat loss. These tissues are located around the kidneys and eyeballs and within the abdomen in the breasts. Next, we have reticular connective tissue. Reticular connective tissue is a loose network of reticular fibers and a gel-like ground substance. In the picture above, you can see the white blood cells, which are pictured in purple, and the reticular fibers, which look like tree branches. The function of these connective tissues are to form a soft internal skeleton that supports other cell types. These tissues are located in the lymph node organs. Some examples of these organs would be the lymph nodes, bone marrow, and spleen. Next, we are going to talk about dense connective tissues. The first type of dense connective tissue is dense regular. Dense regular tissue has parallel collagen fibers, which can be seen in the white in this picture. They also have nuclei of fibroblasts, which are seen in the dark purple parts of this picture. Their function is to attach muscles to bones or to other muscles. They are located in the tendons and most ligaments. Next, we are going to talk about dense irregular connective tissue. Dense irregular connective tissue has primarily irregularly arranged collagen fibers, which can be seen here in the white swirl-like structures. There are also the nuclei of fibroblasts, just like the dense regular connective tissue. They can be seen in this picture in the dark pink spots. The function of these tissues are to withstand tension exerted in many directions. They are located in the fibrous capsules of organs and joints. Next, we are going to talk about three types of cartilage. Cartilage has qualities of those that are between dense connective tissue and bone, meaning that it is tough, but it is also flexible. The first type of cartilage is hyaline cartilage, which is pictured above. Hyaline cartilage supports and reinforces and is found in joint cavities and in the cartilage of the nose. Second type of cartilage is elastic cartilage. Elastic cartilage maintains the shape of a structure, but it still allows the structure to have great flexibility. Examples of where this cartilage would be the internal ear. The third type of cartilage we're going to be talking about is fibrocartilage. Fibrocartilage strength allows it to absorb compressive shock, and it is in between the discs of the knee joints. There are three types of epithelial membranes. The first type is cutaneous membrane. Cutaneous membrane covers the body's surface, and an example of this would be the skin. The second type is mucous membrane. Mucous membrane lines the body cavities that are open to the exterior. An example of this would be the nasal cavity, esophagus lining, and the lungs. The third type of membrane is the serous membrane. Serous membrane lines the body cavities that are close to the exterior. Examples of this would be the peritoneal pericardium and the visceral pericardium. These are both in the heart. Last, we are going to talk about tissue repair. Tissue repair takes place in 3 steps. The first step is the inflammation stage. Severed blood vessels bleed, and inflammatory chemicals are released by injured tissue cells, mast cells, and others. Local blood vessels become more permeable, allowing white blood cells, fluid, clotting proteins, and other plasma proteins to seep into the injured area. Because of this, clotting occurs and the surface exposed to the dry area dries and forms a scab. The second step is the organization that restores the blood supply. The clot is replaced by granulation tissue, which restores the vascular supply. Fibroblasts produce collagen fibers that then bridge the gap. Macrophages phagocyte dead and dying cells and other debris. The surface epithelial cells multiply and migrate over the granulation tissue. The last step of tissue repair is the regeneration stage. The fibrous area matures and contracts, and the epithelium weakens. A fully generated epithelium with an underlying area of scar tissue is the result.
Thanks for listening about the different types of tissues in the human body. I hope you learned something today.